Thank you. All right. So our reading today is from a book. Oops, sorry. I'm just bringing it up on my computer here. Want to make sure I don't leave the meeting accidentally. Okay. Where is it? There we go. So the book, I don't know if you can see it here, that I've chosen today is called Switch on Your Brain. And it's by Dr. Carolyn Leaf. Interesting book, very interesting book in regards to how our brains work. And he talks a lot about our connection with God in that. So it's an interesting combination of the theology aspect as well as the scientific aspect. So one of the quotes I've taken from the book, just to start the reading, is, just when humans think they are super smart and know it all, a whole lot of new information enters into the equation and changes everything. So from the chapter, Switch on Your Brain, choosing to be focused and mindful and to activate your mind in a balanced way by capturing your thoughts will bring you back in alignment with God. Through modifying our practices of thought toward a more disciplined, focused, and reflective thought life, we can build up healthy neural real estate that is better able to bring our thoughts into captivity and deal with the variegated demands of today's modern world. Your mind can powerfully and unexpectedly change your brain in positive ways when you intentionally direct your attention. The most effective way to improve your brain is a daily step-by-step process, a lifestyle of thinking your brain into better functioning so that it turns into whatever you expect it to be. As a man thinks in his heart, so he is. Your mind, intellect, will, and emotions are always changing your brain in some way. Directed, disciplined, and focused attention on the correct things is a major key to switching on your brain. Automation is a life principle. Automation applies to everything in your life because everything you do and say is first a thought. This means nothing happens until you first build the thought, which is like the root of a tree buried under the ground. The thought produces words, actions, behavior, and so on, which can be compared to the tree branches, leaves, flowers, and fruit you see above the ground. The roots under the ground are like the non-conscious mind that nourishes and supports the tree, keeping it alive 24 hours a day. The non-conscious mind operates and nourishes your conscious mind 24 hours a day. The non-conscious mind is filled with the thoughts you've been building since you were in the womb, and they form the perceptual base from which you see life. Up to 99% of the decisions you make are based on what you have built and automized into your non-conscious mind. If a person's non-conscious mind is filled with negative, toxic trash, then that is what informs his or her decisions on a day-to-day basis, which means that person will speak and act from toxicity. Obviously, the opposite of toxicity is health, and we were originally designed by God for health because we are all made in God's image. So we begin with health and then move away through poor choices. Most of the time, we are a mix of healthy and toxic, and you determine the proportions of those two yourself. You cannot sit back and wait to be happy and healthy and have a great thought life. You have to make the choice to make this happen. You have to choose to get rid of the toxic and get back in alignment with God. You can be overwhelmed by every small setback in life, or you can be energized by the possibilities that they bring. Thank you for listening. A sense. Thank you. I Yes, I love that song, and I think it makes a lot of sense and goes well with the reading. And I think that, when I was looking for a reading for today, I think I was, well, we always have something in mind when we're looking for a reading, and that's obviously a little bit of influence from Spirit, of course, because I always ask for something that will be relevant and touch everybody in the room. And it's been, I don't want to dwell on the past year and a half and the COVID and the struggles and, all the things that have come up, because there's been a lot of positives come out of it for a lot of people as well. But it's been interesting because it seems like lately the conversation, especially when people find out that, you're a minister or a medium or whatever, have you been given any insight into what this is all about? Well, if I had, I'd probably be very famous by now. And what I've determined, and in my conversations with Spirit and other people, it's a global thing, but it's also a very individual thing. How we have lived through and dealt with this time period in our lives. And, I'm reminded that there probably isn't a single person in this room who hasn't had something happen in this past couple of years that's brought them down or made them in some way want to withdraw more or examine what their life is about, or just get them into a funk. And I think, a lot of that is obviously has to do with the change and the turmoil and the shift. But I have no doubt that coming out of this, we will be wiser. There will be a shift. Many of us will have gained a greater appreciation and gratitude for what we do have in our lives. So, that first quote in the reading about just when we think we know it all and everything's just going along real nice, whap, we get hit over the head with something else. Because life is just never about sailing along nice and easy. So we all have those challenges in our lives, good and bad. Change, it's inevitable. It's what life is all about. But how we deal with that change is a very personal thing. And that's where, one of our principles, personal responsibility, that's where that comes in. The other principles that come to mind are the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man. I mean, we're all in this together. And yet there are divided sides, and there always will be, there always is. In any situation, there are those who, as we know, see the glass half full or half empty. So where are you in all of this? Where are your thought processes right now? I know I personally have, just gone through a period where, I've been up and down. It's been a roller coaster ride. Been in a funk, been feeling great about the world and back down again. Yeah, it's been up and down. And I think all of us are feeling that. And I think we're feeling wearied by it. It's been a real tug of war. So what can you do about it? Because I think that, a lot of what's going on now has brought with it permanent change. Some of the things that we've learned to do aren't going away. Some of the things that we've had to adjust to or change in our lives aren't changing that much now. We talk about the new normal. I hate that phrase, the new normal. What does that mean? Because really every day is different, and normal is just normal. It's how we live. But how we engage our mind and our brain in terms of decision making and touching in with who we truly are, and where are we on that scale of health to toxicity. If you had a barometer and you could measure, where would you find yourself? Just take a moment mentally to say, okay, I'm somewhere in the middle, or, oh yeah, I'm really up here. I'm feeling good, solid, healthy, or I just feel like I just can't get out of the doldrums here. And everything I do, I want to blame or be angry about or frustrated about. Or am I looking around and thinking, I do have a lot to be grateful for, whether it's the home I have, the job I have, the people that I am able to be in contact with, the things I'm able to do on a day-to-day basis. Simple things like just, taking a walk on the beach, or enjoying the warm, sunny weather while you sit on your deck or your back porch. We've got a lot around us that is really wonderful. And if we can keep adjusting our thoughts towards that appreciation and awareness, not of what's wrong in our lives, but what's right in our lives, that's what's going to keep us, as the reading said, closer to God, because that's where we belong. That's where we were meant to be. I've even heard people say, why did God do this? Well, for heaven's sakes, we all know as spiritualists, personal responsibility, God doesn't do this. We do this to ourselves, to our world, to our environment, through the actions we take, the decisions we make collectively. And so we have that innate ability to monitor and change our perspective. One of the interesting things with this book is it talks about a 21-day brain detox plan. I haven't tried it, but I think I might. I think because we get so stuck in our habitual thoughts. And like any habit, that's hard to break. They say that, that it takes 21 days to break any habit. So that's what the detox plan is about, the brain detox plan. And I think probably everybody here has at some point in their life gone on a diet, whether it's for your physical health or because your doctor said you needed to, or you want to lose weight, or you just, you want to, detox and just get healthier. And we do that for our physical bodies. But have you ever thought about doing it for your brain? I mean, the brain has, it has all its physiological functions, psychological functions, it's emotional functions, all of those things. And I think that we just get into the habit of thinking the way we think and making our decisions based on those thoughts. So if you could flip a switch, if you could reset, would you? Yeah, it's going to take a little work. It's no different than doing a diet that you would do for your physical body, where maybe you have to do some prep. You've got to, you got to go out and get the right groceries, and you might want to prep them ahead of time because, you've got a rush day and you don't want to grab things that you shouldn't be grabbing. And so, it's a constant mindfulness all throughout the day. And when you go to pick up that chocolate bar or that cookie, it's going, nope, this is going to mess up the diet, so I'm going to put it down. So it's the same thing with your brain. You know, when you notice the thoughts, when you're in that funk or you're in that place of blame, or poof, somebody shoots you up to anger in 30 seconds flat, you can either take the ride, or you can just stop and step back and go, okay, wait a minute, what's happening here? Can I turn this around? Can I bring that anger, that emotion of anger? Can I just kind of pull that in for a minute? Take a few deep breaths. That frustration, boom. You know, maybe doing some box breathing. I don't know if any of you are aware of that technique, but just the deep breaths, right? A way of bringing you back to center, bringing everything back into balance for a moment. Because if you're in that place of blame or anger or frustration or hatred or whatever it might be, that toxic place, then you can't make healthy decisions, because the decision you make is going to be colored by that toxicity, riddled with it. So reset, reswitch, bring it back, rein it in. Think about something that brings you peace or pleasure. Bring yourself back into that space of, there are some good things in my life. There are some good people in my life. You know, you might start by sitting down this afternoon or tomorrow morning and making a list of all the things that you're grateful for, the good things in your life. And then put it beside your bed. And when you get up in the morning, have a look at it. You know, carry it around in your pocket. And when you feel frustrated or angry, or you're feeling like it's everybody else's fault, have a look at it and see what's there for you to reflect upon, because that's what's going to fill you up. That's what's going to remind you and change that habit of toxic thinking into something healthy. I mean, I always find it interesting to observe people and how they deal and cope with things in their lives. You can have two people who have had the same situations go on in their life. It could be a major illness, a death of a loved one, a car crash, a house burning down, horrible things. And you can see one person that may have moved into that place of toxicity, and they're bitter and they're angry, and nothing is going to go right, and nothing will go right as long as every decision they make is made from there. And then you can have another person who's had the same situation, who's out there maybe helping people rebuild their lives, who's maybe being a mentor for someone who needs to learn something, who's perhaps come to a place where they've found some peace for themselves. It's interesting, really interesting to see how each of us deal differently with the circumstances in our lives, based on our thoughts, based on the information that we've been putting into our brain for a lifetime. So sit back and think about that. Where are you on the barometer right now? Where are you on that scale of 1 to 10? 10, being healthy, happy. You've got it all figured out for today anyway. Or toxicity, where the world around you just seems very unpleasant. You're fearful. You're in the doldrums all the time. You just feel like things will never get better. And I certainly don't negate the fact that there are circumstances in people's lives that can challenge them. We all experience things in our lives that can just knock our feet right out from under us. The key, the reset, is how we view those issues, those problems. What is our attitude towards them? It's okay to have your down days. We can't all be perky all the time. And if you need some help, hopefully you've got people around you can ask for help. And if you don't, or if you feel that's not working, then we've said it many times, you always, always have friends in spirit. You can always go to that place inside and say, oh my goodness, I need some help with this. And let's talk for a minute about that, about how you ask for that help from spirit. Because we do, our prayers are about asking. Isn't that what prayers are? They're usually asking for something. Meditation, on the other hand, is allowing spirit to come in and be a part of that process. And I think that's an important distinction. Because often when we ask for something, we're not listening to that voice of wisdom within. We're not allowing ourselves to be aware of how that prayer may be answered, because it may not be answered in a way that we want it to be, or think that it should be or might be. Whereas if we can sit in meditation or contemplation and change our wording, not to, this is what I want, or can you help me get this, but rather direct me in a way that is for my highest good and the good of others. Guide me to a place of making decisions and choices that aligns with my soul's plan, God's purpose within me. You're going to get a very different feeling from that, and probably a very different outcome. I think too often we ask and we have these conversations in our head with spirit, with our divine self, and we're so busy with the chatter. We're so busy asking and talking and expecting that we miss what actually does come along for us. We can too easily miss those words of wisdom or guidance. So that quiet contemplation, meditation, will take us to a place that aligns us with that God source, with who we really are, with our healthy self. Because it never goes away. It's always there. It just gets covered up sometimes by the other stuff. So sometimes it takes a while to uncover it, but it's there. It's always there. And so we have to find out how, for us personally, us uniquely, we can flip that reset switch. It's like a diet. It's going to take some willpower. It's going to take some meditation. It's going to take some recreating of our thoughts, of our language, of how we say things, how we express. But in the end, it's going to be worth it. We've got a lot going on in our world right now, a lot of toxicity, but also a lot of healing and a lot of health. I know which side of the fence I want to be on. And I certainly know that I have to work at it sometimes. It's so easy to get drawn in to what's going on, to the fear, to the anxiety, to the, the blame. And so push yourself to the other side of the fence, to the healthy side, to the side that perceives things in a positive light, that believes in the resilience of humankind, that knows that throughout the ages, we've certainly been through major global crises before. And ultimately, we survive in one way or another. Ultimately, that energetic force that we are all a part of makes that shift and change and embraces us as part of it and helps us to move forward. Make a conscious decision, starting now, to monitor your thoughts and your decisions, to monitor how you look at the world. I have to admit, I make it a point not to listen constantly to the news. I know the numbers are going up. I know about the new strain. It's all there. I get it, but I don't want it in my head every minute of every day. We can be aware and we can be respectful. We can be cautious. We can do what we need to do as individuals. And we've got to stay positive. We've got to stay connected. And ultimately, we have to be true to ourselves, true to who we really are, true to that healthy part of us, using those tools that God has given us, using that brain, using our thoughts, working at health. Long distance runners don't become long distance runners without practice, work, more practice, more work. We can do it too. We can be there. So make a commitment to yourself to make an adjustment. Flip that reset switch. And become that positive, healthy person that you were meant to be. Thank you for listening.